Hi everyone, and welcome to Garden to Kitchen. This afternoon we're going to look at my garden. Yes, it's approaching the end of September. The fall harvest is about to come to an end, and I'd like to give you an update on how things went this year. So I'm going to take you through the garden step by step and show you some of the successes and perhaps some of the challenges that I've had. So first of all, I wanted to start with my cherry tomatoes. The cherry tomatoes are located back here. I'm going to take my garden snips with me because I'm going to show you some of the cherry tomatoes. The cherry tomatoes are called just an orange. Matter of fact, they're called sweet orange. That's what it says on the label right here. And I have this label, sweet orange. And this orange cherry plant, here it is here. It was only about that high, and it grew up the side of the house, and it grew up to about 6 feet, and then it grew up to about 8 feet, and then it just kept on going, and then one day it was raining and it was windy, and it blew over into the beans. So we have the plant, this orange cherry, that has grown about 8 feet tall, and that is growing into the beans, actually pulling down the beans on the backside here. So it's really been successful, but the plant has fallen over. I'm just going to make a few clips here just to show you some of the tomatoes that are growing on this cherry tomato plant. And here they are here. As you can see, there's a cluster of orange, sweet orange as they are, and they are very sweet. By the way, this is an indeterminate plant that grows and continues to grow. As long as you keep watering it and feeding it, it'll grow higher and higher. So it has to be caged. So I have a cage that's about 4 feet tall, but obviously it's not tall enough to handle all the cherry tomatoes that are growing on this plant. I would estimate that I would have probably in excess of 500 cherry tomatoes on this plant. And I wouldn't be surprised if it came close to 1,000. It is full, and it is full of these tomatoes. So that could be a good problem to have, certainly. And I keep pulling them off, but I can't keep up with them. So I've been giving them away to neighbors. Or what I do is I come out here and I throw a tray down and I pile them in the tray, and then I take them inside, clean them all, and I put them in a nice glass bowl, and they set them on the counter. So it's better than eating chips, greasy chips, so you might as well eat some nice cherry tomatoes. So that's a great way that I like to eat cherry tomatoes. So you can do it too as well. All you need is one plant. You don't plant any more than one because it's just going to be too much. The second one I wanted to mention is my climbing beans. I have some climbing beans. You can't see them too well. They're on the corner here and they're falling over. They're just ready to fall over, and they're doing exceptionally well. The type of beans that I planted there were the pole bean. They're called Italia pole beans. And I also planted some Blue Lake, climbing Blue Lake. And they're very successful. I had a ton of them and never kept up with them. Just 2 in our family. And we had plenty of green beans. Incidentally, I feed both the tomato plants and the beans lots of organic material. Everything is organic. It comes from my barrel, which is located over here, and that is compost made from kitchen waste and yard waste. So it really grows well. In front of, have you noticed my tomato plants over here? I was going to mention carrots, but look at the tomatoes. The green tomatoes on this Better Boy plant. This is a hybrid plant. I got a ton of them, and I got more of them down here that are just as loaded. So lots of tomatoes that are green that are starting to turn red, and I pull them off and excuse me, and I pull them off and let them ripen inside. That's what I've been doing because we're getting close to the end of September, in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. Incidentally, I really pulled, there's some really big ones down in here. Black Crim was one of the huge varieties, and also Cherokee Purple. So I had some really big, and I'm telling you, well, matter of fact, I have a photograph of one, and I believe, if I recall, it was 6 inches in girth across the tomato. So it was massive, and I had lots of those. And I attribute all this to, you know, organic material, decomposed horse manure, makes the plants really, really grow well. In front of the tomatoes along here, I don't know if you can see it or not, but I have some carrots growing at the base of the tomato plants. And the reason for that is I don't have a lot of space, number one, and I usually grow beets or something in front of there because there's a little bit of space, and I like them get as much produce out of the space that I have. And this year I decided to grow some Scarlet Nantes. Scarlet Nantes is a seed, a carrot seed, very, very tender and very, very sweet. And this particular one, as I'm showing you right here, this particular one comes in a seed tape. I normally don't plant carrots because I find the seeds are so small, there's a lot of weeding, or not weeding, but thinning, a lot of thinning. So this year, I got this from Lowe's, and it's a carrot tape. So it's 15 feet long, and all the seeds are stuck on this little paper tape. So all I did was I stretched it out along here 15 feet, and I buried it in the soil, and I just kept watering it. And sure enough, I have carrots. The other day I went out and I picked, well, just about every day, pull a whole bunch of carrots, and they're so sweet. Just love those carrots, and I'm going to be continuing to grow them. One other thing about carrots and tomatoes is that carrots is a companion plant for tomatoes, which means that the carrots growing together with the tomatoes will ward off any insects or any diseases that might come along. So that they're called a companion plant, and that is the carrots and tomatoes. I also had some yellow beans. I'm looking at it behind the camera here, and the yellow beans were doing exceptionally well. You saw me make the frame, or the raised garden, out of pressure treated wood, and it was 3 feet wide by 4 feet long, and it was a double section about this high. I put it on the grass. I didn't have a chance to really turn the grass over. I just, cut the grass inside it. And then I added some horse manure and some ground that I'd got at Lowe's together. You saw me mix that in my previous videos. And it was only about 4 inches deep. It wasn't a lot, but that's all I had at the time. And I said, well, it was July 1st, what the hang? I'm gonna plant some beans. I planted some yellow beans. I believe they were standard pencil pod yellow beans. And along with that, I also planted some thyme, some basil, and some chives in front of the beans. So when I planted them, I suspected they would have lots of space, and they took off. They were all growing. They looked very nice. And then, of course, as the season went on, the beans kept getting larger and larger and larger, and the beans actually took over the whole environment in this raised box. And again, another great problem to have, if you want to call it. And I had beans and beans and beans. I have some here just to show you. Well, these are all dry, but you can see the yellow beans that are attached here. So many yellow beans that I didn't get to. I had more than I needed in yellow beans. And that was only from a row that was 4 feet long. So that must say something about decomposed horse manure and some good garden soil. So that was really successful, for sure. Now, I'm going to also show you my green peppers. I normally don't grow green peppers. Well, I have in the past, but I didn't have that much success. They didn't really grow that well. This year, I was dedicated. I grew them from seed. I grew about 20 plants. I gave away 18. Yeah, I gave away 18. I kept 2. I said, I'm going to try it. Okay, everybody kept telling me, well, you only get 1 or 2, and oh, well, that was fine. So anyway, I got 2 plants, and I got about 10 peppers, at least 10 peppers from each plant. And they're doing exceptionally well, and I love them in the kitchen when you can make these stuffed green peppers with the beef and the tomato sauce. Oh, they're really, really delicious. And I'm going to show you, I got the scissors here, I'm going to cut one off, or 2, and show you what they're like. They're over here, they're kind of falling over because they're so heavy, and you can probably see the red on here, and that is from the pepper plant starting to turn red because obviously it's towards the later stages. So let's clip this off and see what we can get here to show you. So here is one here, and of course, take a look at this pepper. It's huge, a huge pepper. It must be 5 inches long and probably about 4 inches across on the top. Massive, massive pepper. And I got a couple big ones like these. These are perfect for stuffing and putting in the oven. So I'm really happy with this, and I'm going to grow some more next year. These peppers are nothing fancy. They're just called Early California Wonder. Early California Wonder. They're a blocky pepper, and they did really well. All I did was supply them with some decomposed horse manure, some kitchen and garden waste and yard waste, all decomposed. I've added that in when I planted them, and they took off, and I just made sure that they were well watered, and they did exceptionally well, exceptionally well. So in addition to that, I just wanted to mention behind me I have my 27-gallon potato pod. Doesn't look like much now, it's all dried up, but I'm going to be harvesting the potatoes from this particular pot. I've got another one at the far end as well. I've got 2 27 gallons, and I'm going to be harvesting them, or one of them, in my next video. So you want to subscribe and keep up to date on that one, because that one's going to be really exciting to see how many potatoes we got from this. Previously, I had a bucket like this, and I got about 20 potatoes from the 7-gallon pot. So I'm quite happy with the progress that I've had with the potatoes. So anyway, I hope that gives you an idea of what you can do in small spaces. Gardening is so much fun, so entertaining, and you get to reap the benefits in the fall, in that fall harvest when everything comes due. So it's really exciting. So I hope you got some tips from this. I hope you'll be able to start in the spring, or perhaps in the winter coming up, and that you'll be able to grow some seeds or get ready for the gardening season and have some fun. So thanks for watching, and don't forget to send this off by email to your friends. Don't forget to pin it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you have any comments, please leave your comments below. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you in the garden. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.